every time something goes wrong in my life since then, I just look back to that moment and I'm like, don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution.
All SEALs to some degree have to have a never quit attitude, but your journey through Buds is one of the extreme examples of that.
I realized I didn't want to be a Navy SEAL for this selfish reason of doing something hard. I wanted to do it to go hunt the most evil people in the world and make sure 9/11 happened again.
Entrepreneurs draw inspiration from all kinds of places.
I had to pitch Sunga Life thousands of times. It was almost like speed dating. Don't try to just figure it out yourself when it comes to business.
For too long, those that have worn the cloth of the country, that have fought and sacrificed for our nation, have been left out of the greatest financial engine the world has ever seen. My service paved the way for my success, and that's true for so many veterpreneurs. In fact, some of the greatest companies were created by veterans. I'm your host, Kaj Larsen, and in each episode, we'll bring you the stories and the wisdom of those who have gone from boots on the ground to successful careers, from military to wealth, and how they've done it, so you can apply those insights to your own mission and life. Welcome to Tactical Wealth, from military to money. Jeff Gum, welcome to the show. Before we get tactical, we're going to do a couple quick questions. If you had to sum up your journey from your naval service to your entrepreneurship career in one sentence, what would it be?
I'd say problem solving, brotherhood, and just grit, grinding through both of them together.
Nice. And what's one moment from your time in the teams, that's how we call it, we say your time in the teams, we don't say as a Navy SEAL, that completely reshaped how you see the world?
Yeah, so going through Hell Week, getting really sick, and having my dreams basically ripped away, but still finding a way through, persevering, and then still making it through, doing all these different things. It wasn't just being tough. It wasn't just talking and communicating effectively. It was talking to the right people, building the right allies. All these things had to come together at once to get back in and then persevere. So every time something goes wrong in my life since then, I just look back to that moment and I'm like, don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution.
Yeah, and all SEALs to some degree have to have a never quit attitude, but your journey through Buds is one of the extreme examples of that, I think. Okay, I'm reticent to ask this next question, but was there a specific moment during your time in the teams that planted the seed for Sunga Life?
Yes, definitely. So going down to Brazil many times, I was very close with the Gracie family, and they were a lot of my best friends in California. I would go to Orange County, train with them, go out with them. They would come down to Pacific Beach. I would take them out. It was like a bunch of allies between the Gracie family and the SEAL teams. And so I was like the lone gringo they would bring down to Brazil, and I'd be on the beach and I'd be wearing a big pair of board shorts like Americans do. And I'd be going in the ocean, and then everybody's in sungas and they're getting better suntans. They're swimming through the water better. And then I'm walking around in like a soggy pair of shorts. I'm talking to a Brazilian girl. I'm like, hey, I think I need to get some of these sungas. They seem like way better for all these reasons. And then she goes, yeah, they're so sexy on men. And I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm buying 10 of them. I started wearing them all over the world, and everybody would be, guys at first would be like, oh, I don't know about these things. And then they'd just see, like, I wouldn't even have to talk to girls. They would just come up to me and like compliment me on my swimwear. And the guys would be like 10 minutes later, hey, do you have any more of these things I could get? This would be in Vegas at a pool party or Croatia Yacht Week or all these kind of fun things. And I'm like, you know what? I think I need to like bring these Sungas to the US. And I'm like, what would be a name for that? I'm like, Sunga Life. Sunga Life for everybody. And
I love it.
Sunga Life was born.
I love it. I love it. You know, in entrepreneurship, we call that an aha moment. Yeah. It's like one of the best aha moments ever. Totally. Some Brazilian girl right in your face being like, oh, we find these short shorts incredibly sexy.
That's it. Go to the store.
A company was born.
Yep.
Awesome.
That was it.
And it is a lesson like entrepreneurs draw inspiration from all kinds of places. So Fascinating. All right. Excellent. Okay. Well, Jeff, let's talk about your journey to the Navy.
Yeah.
Tell me why you wanted to become a SEAL.
Yeah, so it actually started when I was 16 years old and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had wanted to be like an athlete of some kind, but then I was still, I thought maybe I had gotten, braces. I'm like, oh, maybe being a dentist would be good. I always got along with the dentist.
And your sister's a dentist, right?
And so
Yeah.
then my sister became
okay.
an orthodontist, a dentist because I was saying it first, and she's Dr. Gum, DMD, owns Gum Dental, so it worked out really well for her. But then I was playing basketball my sophomore year. It was a fast break. It was a scrimmage before the season started, and someone pulled up for a shot, and it came back as a line drive. I caught it, landed, people hit me in the air. I fell on a crazy split with my leg under me, and I tore my ACL, and I was just stuck in a brace. And I went from working out every day and having like 2 hours of team practice to just being stuck in a brace. And I realized I needed the biggest challenge in order to be fulfilled. I didn't want to go and work in an office as a young man. And I started looking on the internet, what's the biggest challenge I could find? And I found out about Hell Week and Navy SEALs. I was like, oh, I want to go be a Navy SEAL and do this Hell Week thing. And I almost want to do it more to do Hell Week than anything else. But in the next like couple of years, I just learned more and more, became obsessed with it. And then 9/11 happened when I was 17 years old, sitting in my high school senior class. And I realized I didn't want to be a Navy SEAL for this selfish reason of doing something hard. I wanted to do it to go hunt the most evil people in the world and make sure 9/11 happened again. I used to go on field trips to New York City, so it really hit home. It was 90 minutes away from where I grew up in Pennsylvania. And so from there on, I was just like, I want to do special operations.
Yeah. And I think we know now in hindsight that the people who make it through are not people who want to do it for the glory of the job, because that's ego-based, but for the mission, right?
Definitely.
Now, Buds was super fucking hard for you, right? Like, I like that little mantra, like one and done. And you're like, oh no, I'm going to make this as hard as possible.
We call that extra Buds.
Yeah, I mean, you almost got like
on extra
kicked out at one point, right?
I was kicked out.
Tell us everything.
Yeah. So I'm going through first phase, and I kind of have a thing, stack all the odds in your favor. I wasn't just going there, showing up, seeing what happened. I'm like, I am getting through this no matter what. I'm preparing for, everything going wrong. And it talked about, I wanted really hard Hell Week and all these things. Like, be careful what you wish for, because I got it Friday before. Everything was going great originally. I never failed a single evolution, every run, every swim, every O course. I made friends with guys who were in a class ahead of me. I practiced drown proofing. I practiced the underwater knot tying, underwater swim. I'm like, I'm not going to fail anything. Even though I wasn't great in the water yet. I was training all that so I wouldn't fail anything. And I get to Friday, and all of a sudden I become very nauseous, not feeling good. And I ended up getting viral gastroenteritis. And I've never been this sick in my life, where I would drink water and immediately throw up. I couldn't keep any water. It's literally the only time it's happened in my life. And it happened Friday before Hell Week. And so our mentor at the time was speaking to us, Master Chief Guile, legendary SEAL, speak to us about stoicism and philosophy and delayed gratification and all these things to help young men get through this training, because it's more mental than it is physical. So I have to literally walk out while he's in the middle of talking to everyone. I just throw up in a garbage can, and I I'm so thirsty. I just drink more water, immediately throw up. And this goes on for a while, like a couple hours. And you never want to go to medical as a SEAL, especially before as a Bud student, because then it just looks bad. They can find something wrong with you. You get rolled to the next class. You have to start all the way over. I'm already 6 weeks into this thing. Everything's going great. I'm really good physically. I just want to get through Hell Week, because that's kind of, if you get hurt before Hell Week, then you get rolled back. You start all the way over. If you get if you get to like Thursday of Hell Week, you'll get rolled forward, and then you're at least a brown shirt. And if you have to,
And you don't have to repeat.
you don't have to repeat all these things. So I'm like, I gotta get through Hell Week to Hell Week. And I was just pumped. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. It's all I've talked about since I was 16 years old. Now I was 24. So I'm ready to go. So I have to go to medical because I literally can't even drink water without puking. So I go in and they go to give me an IV and can't even get the IVs in me. It's just rolling, so dehydrated. And finally they get one in, and I've like later that night, I'm able to start drinking water again. Next day, I still can't eat food. Finally, maybe Saturday night, I'm able to keep a little bit of food down. And I'm like, that's it. I'm going into this thing. And you have Sunday where everybody kind of hangs out as a class. You have some pizza, you watch some movies, try to get fired up because they're about to have breakout. You go into your tent and I'm so fired up. I'm so ready. I think I'm feeling good, but I was like massively dehydrated at this time. And then we go, breakout happens.
This is the beginning of Hell Week. You're starting, but you're already starting behind the power curve.
Yeah. Massively dehydrated, hardly had any food. I might have lost 15 pounds or something before. And then we kick it off. And immediately, everywhere you go, you just have a 200-pound boat on your head. And you're just running. Then we go to log PT. You're just lunging everywhere with these logs, doing all these things. And then you have to lay in the ocean for an hour at a time, getting surf tortured. Remember, we go to Steel Pier, and we had one of the strongest guys in our class. He kind of looked like Drago from Rocky 4. He was second fastest guy and just huge and jacked. And he ends up quitting in that moment. And like everybody sees the strongest guy like quitting, and it's just mass exodus. Everyone follows him. We lose like 24 guys on that evolution. We keep going and keep having more boats. And we like next day, I think it's out doing the buoy swim. We lose like another 25 guys. And then having like, base tour over on the bay side of the island, just sprinting with the boats all night. And we end up, my legs start to cramp.
Yeah, so this is like Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Yeah, this is like Tuesday.
And people don't realize like you've been up for 48 hours at this point, and you've run like 40 miles.
Working out over 20 hours a day.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Extreme exertion.
Eating MREs in the surf.
Yeah. So it's mixing extreme exertion, dehydration, and hypothermia. And those things are what really can lead to getting rhabdomyolysis. So my legs start cramping so bad. And it's a type of cramp where a football player will get carried off a field. And for me, you can't just stop running when you're under these boats. So I just bit down as hard as I could, ran through the cramps, and I think that's what really gave me rhabdo at that time, which I had never heard of rhabdo. Nobody had ever heard of rhabdo. It had never been diagnosed in SEAL training before. And I get through, I just bite down, we run like a few more miles. And then now we're going to have a 4-mile timed run.
Yeah.
After it was literally like the last maybe 30 feet, we were almost there, and I was about to fall out from under it. And I just held everything I could to get there. And then now we're going to do these runs on your own. And maybe we do the first one and maybe 10 people are behind me on the first one. I'm so slow. Like my legs aren't working. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then nearly all these people quit. I'm like, that's not good. Because then the target starts coming to you more.
So eventually you just get to the point of no return.
Yeah. And I'm just falling out from under the boat. Now, the whole day Tuesday, I can't even stay under the boat. The boat's taking off. I can't even keep up with it. And all the heat, I keep getting written up in chits. I'm telling them something's wrong. I don't know what it is. They're like, quit making these excuses. And finally, it's an hour from Wednesday, and they're like, this is it. You're going to XDiv. I'm like, I'll do anything to stay here. I don't know what's wrong with me, but could you just like surf torture me the rest of the week? They're like, we can't do that. So I'm like, all right, I need to go to medical because this is wrong. I need to find out what's wrong. I thought I had a thing called SIPE, which was well known, swimmer induced pulmonary edema. And pulmonary edema typically only happens to people that are climbing Mount Everest, or it's called HAPE for that, high altitude, and BUD students, swimmer induced. So I think I have that too because I can't breathe great either. So I go to medical, they put a pulse ox on me, and I like it's not that low. My lungs are blood, everything's seems okay there, except my legs just won't really push anything. So I call my mentor. I call my mentor the next day, Mike Gecka, this legendary BUDS instructor.
They've kicked you out of Hell Week at this point.
Yeah, they kicked me out of Hell Week.
And
I actually didn't go. Yeah,
so you've been dropped. Like your dreams of being a SEAL are over here.
Totally over.
Got it.
My heart is crushed.
Right. So in the end, you went from being this like incredible top performer to what the instructors would call a total shitbag.
Yeah.
And you got like the white hot light on you, and they're like, what the fuck, like, why can't you perform? And
but
all
even
this
when
stuff.
you're performing well, there's 253 guys is what I started with in the next class. So I might have been more of like a gray man. I hadn't failed anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't winning the things, but there's like tremendous athletes there. But I was
you're
never
a super solid performer.
Yeah, totally. And
now your dreams of being a SEAL are over. Now, eventually you claw your way back to BUDS. In the end,
well, it was literally 2 days later.
Okay. Yeah.
I was not going to XDiv.
Because you went before the big desk, right? And
they literally give you a uniform, like the uniform you wear in boot camp. It was like the utility uniform.
Yeah.
And I called it the quitter uniform.
The dungarees, right?
There was also, it was utilities. I think dungarees are
something else.
More when you're cleaning stuff. But I was like, that's a quitter uniform. There's also the quitter room because they make you go to that. I didn't go to that either. I'm like, I am not going to any of this quitter stuff. I didn't quit. And so I'm in, and there's 5 of us who didn't. Usually people that don't make it through Hell Week, they all quit Sunday, Monday, maybe a few on Tuesday. There was 5 people that didn't make it on Tuesday. Some were performance dropped, and some had quit, and some were like injured. And they're all there. They're all in utilities, and I'm in my dress blues. And he like talks to us, gives us all our papers to go to XDiv. And I was like, Senior Chief, good, can I talk to you after everyone leaves? And he was like, yes, no problem. And I was like, hey, I'm 23. I have a college degree. I never failed anything this entire time. I just got viral gastroenteritis. I spent the entire day Friday throwing up. I couldn't even eat food. They were just giving me IVs. I was like, you can take away, because when I signed up, there was a $40,000 bonus. I go, you can take away my bonus. You can take away my pay. I have savings I can live on till the end of BUDS. I'll do anything to start over again. I was like, I don't need to go away and get stronger and more mature. I just need to be healthy. I just want another chance. And he's like, looks at me like I'm crazy. You are the first person to ever walk in here and want to do this again after getting dropped. Like, I like that attitude. I'm going to talk to the other instructors. So, and
then eventually he put you back into the next class.
Well, it was still a fight because the other instructors just saw me literally like dying the next.
But ultimately, you not only made it through that hurdle, which is basically like being on death's door
for
your SEAL career
either.
Right. And then you go back to graduate with which class?
I graduated with BUDS class. I went to the next class, still had rhabdo, failed everything.
Yeah.
Then graduated. Then they figured out what it was. I got healthy. Ty Woods was who's the hero of Benghazi, was my instructor. And then I persevered and got through the very next class, because it went from like the hardest thing in the world to like kind of being easy, because, everything is relative.
So you go through, you finally graduate after this incredibly arduous BUDS journey. You graduate with class 272. You go to SEAL Team 5. We like to say
Yes.
Surf Team 5, but whatever.
Yes.
I went to No Fun 1. You know?
Yeah, totally.
You got the better deal for sure, but you earned
Yeah.
it by like going through 3 buds classes.
Yeah.
And
17 log PTs.
Right.
Usually there's 7.
And then you end up having this extraordinary SEAL career. You spend a decade in the teams. You're an Iraq veteran. You become a combatives instructor. You do everything there is to do as a frog man, basically. And then you decide to transition out. So I want to talk about your journey to entrepreneurship and what inspired you to transition out of the SEAL teams and what did you want to do?
Yeah, so I actually had a dream before the SEAL teams. I had lived with my cousin Lou Lenteni before I started at UCF, and he was a very successful entrepreneur. He ended up founding Echelon Fitness and several other things, and I just loved the control that business owner had over their life. It was all on them. It wasn't going in, punching a clock. So that was kind of the goal: go be a SEAL and then be an entrepreneur. I also had injured my back, and my back had been getting worse. And the SEAL teams are very physical, so I saw one door kind of closing. But I was going to LA all the time. I had a lot of friends up there, you as well, and they had all gone to college or gone and done a graduate degree after. Several had gone to Wharton. I saw the opportunity, one door closing, one door opening, that these guys had done their MBA, and then all their deals and founding companies was kind of done through their graduate school connections. And so I was like, this is actually a great way to transition. I don't have to go right into the real world right away. I haven't worked in business yet. I had a business degree, but I can, and I was ready to found my company as well. I had the idea, everything was ready to go. And I was actually had it for a year while I was still an active SEAL, and I was studying to do the GMAT. And so I was like, this is kind of the perfect way. I study business, but studying it can honestly be a little boring. So if I have my own company to apply everything directly to, it makes it a lot more engaging for me. And so I applied to UCLA, got in, brought it through the entrepreneurship pipeline, had a bunch of MBA students working on it for a grade, and then taking all their, like many of them had a decade working in corporate already. And so kind of really was able to grow and scale Sunga Life through that pipeline.
Yeah. So, contrary to popular opinion, you and I actually didn't really meet in the teams. We were both in the teams. I was serving as a reservist. You were transitioning off active duty. We met, of course, jumping out of an airplane, skydiving in San Diego, where we found ourselves in the middle of the air.
We got
beautiful.
a photo of
we
our
got
first
an
moment
amazing
holding
photo.
hands
We will
at
definitely
like 10,000 feet
Yeah, we'll
with the
definitely edit.
sunset.
So awesome. Well, but what I'm hearing is that the first thing that you did when you really transition out is that you changed your circle of influences. Now,
Yeah.
you know more people than almost anybody I know. Like your sort of network effect is really extraordinary. How key do you think that is for other SEALs or other service members who are transitioning out? How key do you think that sort of network effect is? Like knowing like a broad base of people or changing your social circle, right? Because prior to this, you were really San Diego ultimate team guy, right?
Yeah,
And then you
absolutely.
started going up to LA and meeting a bunch of like, some ex-team guys like me who become entrepreneurs, but also like real civilian entrepreneurs like James
Yeah,
Williams and stuff
definitely.
like that, right? So you changed your circle.
Definitely. I've always been very extroverted for sure, and like kind of a super connector. And I what someone else who's a really great networker is my friend Joe Sweeney. He would come and speak to the Honor Foundation. He wrote the book Networking is a Contact Sport, and he would talk about how you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I was finding myself up in, because I got excited to create my own company and grow it and scale it the same way I was excited to go be a SEAL. And I looked at it the same way. And I'm like, this is going to take a lot of grit, a lot of problem solving. And I'd find myself up in LA, and I'd be the only person out at the dinners that didn't have an Ivy League MBA.
Right.
And I was like, I'm sitting at the right table right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really smart. And what was the hardest thing about starting and scaling your own company?
Just all the things I didn't know. You don't even know what you don't know. And but what I did know was a lot of people. So every time I had a question, I could just call on a friend who had done it already, and they were literally like some of the top people in the world at that part of business, and they would walk me through it. And UCLA Anderson was also extremely. They had an amazing support system. Sunga Life ended up being my master's thesis there as well, and I did 3 accelerators: Startup UCLA, uh, the the business creation option, and Anderson Venture Accelerator. So anytime I had some issue pop up in business, I could talk to the faculty, talk to all these mentors they had. I had to pitch Sunga Life thousands of times. It was almost like speed dating. You'd
Yeah.
be on, and I'd have to like
I'm
talk to
glad
someone
I'm
quick.
glad you brought that up because I always consider that like an essential entrepreneurial skill. So
Yeah.
I like to do a little role play. Don't worry, we're not going to wear any weird costumes or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
I like to do a little role play. Let's say we're walking onto an elevator together. You recognize me as a prominent venture capitalist. Like, how do you open the conversation and give me like the elevator pitch for Sunga Life?
Yeah, yeah. So immediately I would try to, it's a lot like being a human guy in the like teams, which I was.
Nice.
You want to build rapport right away. And so I could bring up something if I see that we both maybe you're in
Let's
like
do it.
a little.
Let's do it. We step into the elevator.
I see you're in a little pair of shorts.
Yeah.
And because you just got done working out on the beach, you're all sweaty. I'm like, oh, what's up, man? You got a good workout in? You're like, yeah, it was it was hot out there. I just did Murph, Murph Monday.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, that's cool. I like your shorts. I I have my own swimwear brand, but they actually founded it after being down in Brazil with the Gracie family. I was a Navy SEAL for 10 years before I founded my company, and then I kind of took the popular swimwear from Brazil and made it patriotic and all about freedom. You could think of it. I started making more products. You can think of it as the Navy SEAL Lululemon, and we do a lot of epic charity challenges. Every year we do the Hudson Seal Swim and have 300 to 400 patriots and 100 Navy SEALs all wearing Sunga Life, and save the coral reef with other special operators. It's have all kinds of prominent fighters: Nick Diaz, John Fitch, AJ Agazarm. All these people wear it for their fights and everything. And yeah, it's almost become like a cultural icon. People will have entire drawers filled with every type of Sunga Life pattern there is, and so
I love it.
but it's more engaging. They'll usually be talking. It's going back and
I love
forth.
It. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I really
like
to
oh, I got to get you. I try to have some
And
with you. You can literally
you've had
hand
to
them
do
a
that
package.
1,000 times.
1,000 times.
1,000
Totally.
times, right?
Yeah.
At events, like randomly, all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. All right, we're gonna end here with some rapid fire. Okay.
All right.
Best investment you ever made?
This time, Tesla.
Nice.
Tesla in like 2017.
Yeah.
I wish I put more in.
Yeah. Smart. Dumbest financial mistake you've learned from?
I'd say business wise, before I learned about print on demand, I would print a whole bunch of like shirts and things. It's a lot more risky to do it like that, because you don't know if it doesn't sell well, then you're left with all this inventory or just creating a lot of product. And then sometimes it can be, if it's not a winner, you get stuck with all this inventory. I've moved my t-shirt printing to print on demand, and I've actually gotten the same pricing I had before. And so
And no overages.
no
right?
overhead, no storage fees, and they have them in locations: US, Mexico, Canada, Europe, Australia. So if people order there, they create it and ship it locally.
Smart.
And I'm like, wow, I wish I
Interesting.
had that years ago.
We could do supply chain all day long.
Yeah.
Navy skill that's been most helpful in business.
Just never giving up, finding a problem solving and persevering and finding a solution.
Good. Favorite piece of Sunga Life gear? I know this is like Sophie's choice, like asking you to pick your children.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Maybe the Peacock Sunga,
Yes.
one of the OGs, like the Peacock Sunga.
You know, it's such
Even the Brazilians got jealous when they saw that one.
it's such a subtle statement when you show up with the Peacock Sunga. you know?
Yeah.
All right. And finally, book that changed your mindset.
I don't know about changed, but it made it even stronger. Gates Gates of Fire by
Yeah.
Stephen Pressfield. It
Yeah.
was just like I was reading that right when I got to Buds, and it talked about, all these the Spartans are on their way into where they're going to do battle, and all the other men and their people and families are all just evacuating and running. And it talked about the people that go into battle to save all the others and the ones who run away. And I was like, I'm never going to run away.
Business is a battlefield
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Okay, just wrapping up, what's one key piece of advice that you would give to any veteran who says, like, I want to start a business, but I don't know where to begin?
Yeah. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to do this big investment here. I'm going to take my life savings and put it in there. I try to mitigate all your risks and stack all the odds in your favor. So if there's a way to do pre-orders, if there's a way to do, like smaller minimum quantity, get it out, build a demand. I say, like, minimize all the risks that you take. Don't buy a ton of inventory and have 100% confidence you're going to sell it all, because you're going to have to keep making micro improvements on everything you do. You don't want to make all this inventory and then realize, oh, I could have made this. If I just made this better, it would have been. Make a little bit, sell that, take the profit from that, go into the next one. And don't be a lot of people, a lot of veterans have a problem asking for help. That's one thing I never had a problem with. Always ask early and often. Don't try to just figure it out yourself when it comes to business.
Yeah, I think they have a problem asking for money too, but I'm with you. When I see a veteran dump his like entire TSP into some business idea, he's got, some janitorial washing gym service or whatever, like, hey, that's great, like build boring businesses. But like sometimes the first litmus test of an idea is whether you can actually get other people to pay for it.
Yeah.
So you could have the best ideas in the world, but you got to test it in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. How can our audience connect with you, get on the Sunga lifestyle?
Yeah. So if you want to check out what the Sunga Life is all about, it's go online. I sell everything. It'll ship out in like a day or two. Sungalife.com, SUNGALIFE. On Instagram, it's at SUNGA.LIFE. If you want to follow myself, at JEFFGUM. And I do a lot
of SFW warning, you might see a lot of photos of Jeff and I in the Peacock Sunga
Yes.
that we reference so much. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff, for coming in. Really appreciate it. Hey, thanks again for locking in with us today. I hope this episode, the old brain housing unit. Step one to becoming richer is becoming smarter. And I hope some of the lessons and ideas from today have sharpened your knife. As always, I hope you're taking notes, but more importantly, that you're taking action. Thanks again to Siebert.Valor and Siebert Financial for the support. And remember, stay tactical, stay driven, and don't forget to bang that subscribe button.
Tactical Wealth is a Gebbia media production, brought to you by Siebert.Valor, a military-focused initiative from Siebert Financial. The Tactical Wealth podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Siebert Financial. This podcast does not constitute investment advice, an offer to sell, or a solicitation to buy any securities. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Listeners should consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.